What's up, rabble rousers? I'm sure you probably already know this if you watch film review YouTube, but Better Call Saul is fire. It's a fire show. It's 10 out of 10. And I'm going to let you know why today, because I am just so admiring of this show. Everything that happens in it is so well crafted, from the writing and how stuff pays off, like from the very beginning, the performances, the characters, the stuff that happens, even the music, man. Like, they took Breaking Bad and put it in a dialogue-filled show that doesn't have too much action in it and somehow made it better, maybe? It's debatable. It's arguable that Better Call Saul is better than Breaking Bad. Both shows are 10 out of 10. No one's arguing that. So we just got to talk about why, though. Better Call Saul, from the very, very beginning, is great. People say it starts off slow, and I think those are the people who wanted to see Breaking Bad stuff in Better Call Saul from the very beginning, which we do, but no, Tuco showing up in episode 1 and being in a main episode and being a main part of the second episode is not enough Breaking Bad for them. A lot of people didn't realize that this is literally Saul Goodman's story. When they say this is the transformation from Jimmy McGill into Saul Goodman, the transformation of how Saul Goodman became Saul Goodman today, that's literally what they mean. There's no ifs, ands, interpretations, or buts about it. That is what the show is about. There's not a lot of stuff that happens during the time of Breaking Bad. It's either before or after, if you're a smart viewer and can recognize that from the beginning. But it's just so good. Jimmy is such a con man. And I think the point of the show is that Jimmy, being a con man, has conned us, the audience, into rooting for him the whole time. Throughout the first 3 seasons, he's basically just dealing with the trials and tribulations that come with not being the person that the people around him want him to be. His brother is suffering from an illness, and he also doesn't necessarily support him in the way that Jimmy wants him to. The person that he wants to work for, which also happens to be who his brother works for, is being a dick to him at all times, even though they know each other like pretty well. It's hard for Jimmy to catch a break. And then when he does start catching breaks later on in the series, you keep rooting for him because all of these trials that he has gone through position him in a place of sympathy for us, the audience. Even though as the series goes on, you're going to see more and more, especially in the seasons 4, 5, and 6, that he doesn't deserve our sympathy. It's just like Walter White, except it's not from pitiful, tepid, timid man to super serial killer drug kingpin Heisenberg. Jimmy is bad the whole time, and us, the audience, don't realize that, and it's really, really well done how they craft that. Chuck, Jimmy's brother, Michael McKean, might be top 3 performances in the entire series. He is the embodiment of Chuck. Even though I'm pretty sure in real life he's nothing like it, I don't see Michael McKean anymore as anybody but Chuck. And that's crazy for an actor to do, because when Saul Goodman is in How I Met Your Mother or Nobody, I can see him as, oh, that's Bobby. I love my boy Bobby. But Michael McKean, that's Chuck. If I see him in another show, that's going to be Chuck. He got typecast after his career had hit its peak. And that's an amazing thing to do, because that role is so well done. Howard, Patrick Fabian, just every single actor is doing the right thing here, and it's just like Breaking Bad in terms of quality. In terms of how the story works out, it's pretty intense from both sides, because they have Mike from Breaking Bad as a character in the show, and you're finding out his origin stories too, and how he got in with Gus and that whole thing. And that stuff is just as intense as the lawyer stuff that's going on with Jimmy. I would say that the lawyer stuff can sometimes even outshine the cartel stuff with Mike and Gus. And even though you know what's going to happen, you still feel the tension, because it's like these characters are real, and you know that Jimmy McGill survives out all of this and becomes Saul Goodman, but you don't know what's going to happen. You literally don't. You know what happens far in the future, but you cannot predict what's going to happen in this show. It is fantastic how they do that. And what I really like is how it's like 2 chapters of Jimmy's life divided amongst 3 seasons. One before he became Saul Goodman, and one as he becomes Saul Goodman and afterwards. And it's divided by who I think the main antagonists are in each segment. The first 3 seasons, it's Chuck, who shapes Jimmy's life by being spoilers, by the way. If you haven't seen Better Call Saul yet, spoilers, so fuck off, get out of here. And in the first 3 seasons, the main antagonist is Chuck, because he is behind all of the trials and tribulations that Jimmy is going through. All the stuff that's happening to Jimmy that he does not like, that he hates, and he wants to get fixed by ascending to the next level, doing it any way, shape, or form, or know how. The stuff that's opposing him is Chuck. Chuck is the reason he can't work at Howard and Hamlin's firm. Chuck is the reason that he doesn't get the Sandpiper case after working with the old people for so long. Jimmy is putting his best foot forward, and Chuck is still trying to stop him. And it's because Chuck knows. It's explored so well in the second half of the series. Lalo is the main antagonist in that, and he is an opposing force to everyone, not just Jimmy. And Jimmy becomes friends with the drug world through Lalo and Nacho. But through Lalo, and then eventually learns what it's like to be in the drug world because of Lalo. And the whole time, Jimmy is like, oh, I don't know, I don't want to do it. But that's because Jimmy's scared of violence. Jimmy doesn't want to get the shit beat out of him, but he is okay with the money. He will do whatever it takes to get that money. And I just want to say how well crafted, again, this show is. All the actors, all the performances, all the episodes too. There's not a single episode of Better Call Saul where I'm like, something could be happening this episode, but it's not. I will admit, sometimes when I was first watching Breaking Bad, I felt that, and I was like, wow, there is not a lot of stuff going on in this episode, but that was because I was at a younger age. I realized that every Breaking Bad episode has something going for it now, but Better Call Saul is crafted so well the whole way through, because I think they knew what they were doing this time. They weren't just like making a show and then going back into the past in the future of the show and then being like, oh, we can just call back to that and then have it make complete sense. They crafted everything to a T. It's so well done. There's so much foreshadowing. Like, I remember in season 2 when Jimmy had bust in on Chuck's house, he was like, I will burn this house to the ground, and guess what? The house burned to the ground. It's crazy how well this show is made, and me rambling to you about it has not even come close to accurately describe how good this show is. If you are a Breaking Bad fan and you are hesitant to watch Better Call Saul because you think it's boring, get your head out of the fucking gutter and go watch Better Call Saul. It's really, really good. And hey, if you are a very, very crazy rabble rouser and you haven't seen either shows, watch Better Call Saul from the beginning, because that would be some legendary shit right there. But if you haven't seen either, the recommended way is to watch Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul. But if you're a freak like that, watch Better Call Saul up to season 6, episode 9, Fun and Games. After that, watch Breaking Bad, and then El Camino after Breaking Bad, and then finish the last 4 episodes of Better Call Saul if you want like a complete beginning to end chronological tale, because it works pretty well that way. But that's what makes it such a great show, is because even though it's a prequel, all of the stuff that happens to it is A, self-contained, intense, and is a very good story on its own, and B, like, just effortlessly and so slickly just leads into Breaking Bad. The writers knew what they were doing, because everything in Breaking Bad has a reason for happening in Better Call Saul. At least for the people that we see in Better Call Saul going into Breaking Bad. There's a reason for everything. They called back to fucking Combo's baby Jesus nativity church stealing thing at the very end of Better Call Saul. Like, you don't know it until it happens, but there's a guy in this called Domingo, and that dude is fucking Crazy 8. And I didn't even notice it until Lalo called him Crazy 8, and I was like, no way that's him. And it was. And it's just stuff like that that makes the show so great. Like, you think you know what's gonna happen because you know that Saul Goodman exists in Breaking Bad and everything takes place before Breaking Bad, but you have no idea what's gonna happen. I honestly think I'm more attached to these characters than I am to the ones in Breaking Bad, because, like, none of them are particularly super annoying. Chuck is the worst, but like he's not annoying about it. Rewatching Breaking Bad, all of these characters can be a little bit annoying because they're all doing it for some sort of pride or ego, or I need this to be me who gets this done. Like that gets annoying after a while. Better Call Saul, everybody's up to something, but you don't know what it is, and that's what makes it so intriguing. And just the transformation of the characters, from Jimmy trying to put his best foot forward to Saul, Kim trying to like be a professional lawyer and realizing after hanging out with Jimmy that she doesn't want that. She would rather be like Jimmy and with Jimmy and doing all the things that Jimmy's doing as he's Jimmy, and Saul Goodman, like conning people and getting her bank a bigger building by conning the board. I don't even know what you would call that. You know what episode I'm talking about, where she cons the lady for in the bank or whatever to get a bigger building for her for Mesa Verde. Like, just the transformations that go on throughout the show, and it's just like Breaking Bad, where it's like you know that these characters have this stuff in them, but at the same time, no, you don't know that these characters have this stuff in them. But then over time, it like shows that they always have, and probably always will, unless stuff changes. And I just gotta say, the last season, from actually basically from season 5 to season 6, that's some of the best television there is. Like, I'm dead serious. Season 5 and season 6 of Better Call Saul are amazing, fantastic, like double S tier. Like, the whole show is a 10 out of 10, but these 2 seasons in particular go so hard, and I love them so much for it. Especially season 6, episodes 7 and 8, Plan and Execution and Point and Shoot, might be some of the best episodes of all time. Maybe better than some of the best episodes of Breaking Bad. It's debatable, like I said, but seriously, go watch Better Call Saul. It's completely obvious what you have to do. I shouldn't even have to be explaining it to you. And if you have any legal trouble or anything that could get you in trouble with the law, or a quick get out of jail free card, Better Call Saul!